All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited that you joined me. And I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint. And what I'm going to do is share with you what I've learned from my community of people. A lot of them are on here. We are a health conscious, like-minded community of people that share simple changes. And about 18 years ago, I got on a different journey to better health with just one simple change at a time. And I learned so much. I have a couple master's degrees, but studying nutrition, it's real world, real life. And it's something that, as Dr. William Sears says, make health your hobby. If you make health your hobby, then you're going to be healthier, and so is your whole family. And so I've kind of made health my hobby. It's been very interesting. I'm going to share with you some things to think about as you're making decisions every day about what to do as far as your lifestyle and about what you're eating, things like that. And, you know, being healthy used to be a lot simpler. Think about if we were born to farmers, we would be tilling the ground and then we would be exercising, we'd be eating off the ground. We probably wouldn't have to go driving off to work. And of course, we wouldn't have cell phones, things like that keep us really busy. So life used to be really, really simple with us playing outdoors and things like that. And it's kind of turned into, you know, fast-paced world with fast food and just different things, you know, a little more sedentary, a lot more stressful, a lot more chemicals in our foods and in our environment and in our ways in which we're eating the foods, even the plastics, things like that. Just we're tired, you know. People are buying energy drinks, and now even though they're getting very smart and buying whole food drinks, you know, to energize themselves, and there's like raw juice bars and things like that, where 18 years ago that didn't exist. So people are starting to get really smart about what does help them get energy, and that is, you know, better foods, things like that. Here is just a few statistics about the state of health in America. You know, heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 2 men will have cancer. Scary statistics. And we all know people who have. 1 in 3 will have diabetes. 1 in 3 is obese. And those usually come together. They call it diabesity sometimes. 70% of Americans are on 2 or more prescription medications. And then even teens are on that same path to heart disease. So it's really important that we take care of our bodies. It's the only place we have to live in, you know, for now. And, you know, if we went out to our cars and they didn't work, we'd be very upset, right? But if our body doesn't work each day, then that's upsetting too, you know. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much time you have. If you don't have your health, it's really, really not really living life to the fullest. So how are you taking care of you? You can do a self-inventory on this, you know, and how are you doing eating real food? That's one question you can ask yourself. Am I including more real foods in my diet? Am I making those simple changes toward gathering more real foods to our house, to our diet, things like that? Exercise. Am I moving daily? You know, because exercising helps to oxygenate your body, helps give you more oxygen to the brain, and even 10 minutes of brisk walking gives you about 2 hours more energy. There's a statistic about that. And that's a de-stressor. And Theta, thanks for mentioning that. You know, exercise is a major de-stressor for us. We love to play racquetball together and pound the wall basically with the ball and feel like we're so young, you know. It's great to find that exercise that you truly love so that you feel young and have that vitality and use your body in a good way like that. So that's a really good thing. Drinking water. You're supposed to drink about half your body weight in ounces of water every day. So say it's a 200-pound man, you cut that in half, it's 100 ounces of water every day to hydrate your cells. Think about, how am I hydrating my cells? How am I detoxifying my cells? Because there's waste that needs to come out of the cells. And then sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night, that's when your body rebuilds. So we have to allow those hormones to come out, different things that happen. So we need to have the good sleep patterns. Usually when I ask those questions, sleep is usually one of the areas in which people are having problems with. Well, there are two startling trends in our world. One is that we have so many environmental toxins that are increasing, and they're getting in our foods, our water, our air, just, all types of things. So we're battling that. The other thing is food quality is decreasing. Food's becoming more processed. They're genetically modifying our foods. They're spraying herbicides and pesticides that might help to grow the plant but kill the weeds, but then they're Roundup ready, plants, and that's not healthy for anybody either. And then artificial colors and numbers, dyes, things like that, I was just with Dr. Lisa Sirota today, and she really went off about how bad food dyes are, and that's just one thing. That's just one neurotoxin that we have. She said it makes kids very irritable, things like that, and it just affects the brain. So we got to be careful. And so all those different things are on the rise. Even autoimmune disorders are on the rise. We didn't really hear about autoimmune disorders many years ago, like MS, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, you name it. There's lupus, there's colitis, there's irritable bowel. A lot of it has to do with the standard American diet. Well, the good news is that your longevity is only based 1/4 on genetics, 3/4 on lifestyle choices. So in the end, genetics loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And that's a quote by Dr. Oz. And here's a couple of men about the same age. Actually, the one on the bottom is older. And so, you can have a lot more vitality as you get older if you're doing those daily disciplines that will help you to have optimal health. And that's really what I want to talk about, is daily habits, because the daily habits are what add up. Thomas Edison says the doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. So some doctors are, into nutrition. Many of them have not really had that in school. They've had maybe an elective course in nutrition. That's only if they've elected to learn about it. Some of them learn about it because of life circumstances, and some of them have a bend toward it. So I like to pick those doctors, who have the whole view of human health, which includes wellness. What can you do to stay well? Well, the good news is you have a lot of control over that. Every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or fighting it. And we do have a battle going on in our bodies and our cells. So we do need to think about that with food. As much as there's so much available out, just to go to our local supermarket, there's all these desserts. And it used to be birthday party foods like hot dogs, French fries, cakes, candies, those kinds of things used to come out at birthday parties, say in the 50s. But now those are just readily available all the time. So, every time we eat or drink, we're either feeding disease or fighting it. And it's good to just think in those terms. At the bottom of here, it says, experts agree 75% of diseases are preventable with good nutrition. If you go to a place like Barnes & Noble and you just go down the aisle of books, you'll see reversing heart disease, reversing thyroid disease, I can't think of the other ones right now, but reversing all types of diseases, because you can take control of your health. And that's the good news. We're not victims. But if we think that this aisle right here is food, that's a problem. 90% of food eaten in America is processed, and that type of food is not really feeding your cells what your cells need. We live in a time when children are more harmed by poor diet than drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. So when you do go down one of those aisles, which it's suggested that you don't, because you should go down the perimeter of the store mostly to get whole food nutrition, which we'll talk about. But if you do go down those aisles, here's how to be a nutrition detective. First of all, don't trust the cover. The cover is marketing. Secondly, the first ingredient is the biggest. And so you got to be careful, because they break up that first ingredient into like 3 or 4 different ones and call it different things. So you always want to look for that. Identifying harmful ingredients. If it's really sugary, that's harmful because sugar feeds cancer cells and it also suppresses your immune system. So sugar is one of them. Trans fat or partially hydrogenated oils, those actually are fake fats, and those cause problems with your heart. Those are just 2 of them. MSG, the dyes and colors, things like that. So harmful ingredients. And when you look at a long ingredient list, you have to say to yourself, is this something I could prepare in my kitchen? If it's not, then it's probably harmful. You know, they sound like a lot of chemicals. It probably is. And that's to the benefit of the manufacturer to be able to keep it on the shelf. So it's just good to really not eat a lot of packaged foods. 2 grams of fiber or more if you are eating a packaged food. And fiber, in fact, is your friend. We want to have lots of fiber in our diet. The people who we associate with who help people fight disease, fight cancer, they say 50 grams of fiber a day. Okay, the only way you're going to get that is to eat plants all day long, starting from the beginning to the end of the day. And boxed food is not necessarily the way to go. The way to go is to eat real food, and real food rots. Okay, that's one way to remember it. Real food rots, or real food sprouts, or real food grew from the ground. And those are plants. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, those are the main types of real food that you want to increase. And you want to decrease your animal food as much as possible. Real food will be anti-inflammatory. Inflammation leads to disease. So we don't want to be in a disease state or an inflamed state. And that really is the culprit in a lot of problems. And so you'll see that there are live enzymes in that watermelon. The watermelon was alive, and that's good to eat live food, but it rots, and that's fine. We have to eat it before it rots. So the Happy Meal down at the bottom, that doesn't rot. We have done this experiment many times in our community. We go get a Happy Meal, we stick it on the top of the refrigerator, doesn't rot, and then we carry it around with us to show people, and then they try to eat it. Especially the kids at the different events that we have, and they're like, oh, I want a French fry. No, that's like 10 years old. Anyway, so real food rots, and if it doesn't rot or sprout, throw it out. It's better to eat live food because we are live human beings. So 150 doctors researched 4,500 studies on what keeps us healthy. The only common denominator is a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. That was what I learned many, many years ago, 18 years ago. And this is one of the articles I also saw. And back then I thought people were crazy if they were drinking carrot juice or green juice or anything like that. But I started to understand why they would. A lot of people, when they're diagnosed with something, they're trying to eat all the fruits and vegetables that they need to. And I'm going to explain why, what happens on the cellular level. But this is just one article, you know, what you need to know about fruits and vegetables. The news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they're so good they could save your life. Because there's a battle going on inside our bodies, and we need fruits and vegetables to fight that. So over on the right, you'll see we need 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. Now, even more preferable would be a wide variety of all the different colors. Raw would be another thing, and vine ripened. That would be the best, because then you won't be losing a lot of the nutrients. And that is a minimum. That 7 to 13 is a minimum in a country where we're very unhealthy. So you want to even have more, if you can, of fruits and vegetables every single day, knowing that we're fighting disease every day in our bodies. So some varieties have lost 5% to 40% of their nutritional content over the years with all the different farming practices that exist. So I want to explain to you a couple things. One is the difference between a multivitamin and a whole food. Fruits and vegetables contain vitamins and minerals, like in that apple or in kale or broccoli or spinach or cranberry. They all have 10,000 nutrients each, okay? Only one of those is vitamin C, but they said, oh, there's vitamin C. Let's put that in the multivitamin. And it's amazing if you look up how many times they've done that, how many vitamins have actually been identified and named. It's 13, okay? Vitamins are not all they've been cracked up to be. And so then if they find, say, calcium or a different mineral, they'll put it in the multivitamin. So then your multivitamin might be 30, but the apple is 10,000. So this is just one page of 25 of what's in an apple, because this only holds 400 ingredients of the apple. There's actually 25 pages. So you can't even compare it. And so it's better to have the whole food. Here is another slide just to make sure it cements in for you. There's different colors, And they all do different things. The blues and the purples, they do great things for the brain and circulation. The reds, we know that it helps with sunburn, it helps with prostate cancer, different things like that. All the different colors have different nutrients, and every fruit or vegetable has about 10,000. Only one of the things in the red fruits or vegetables is lycopene. They just discovered that and put it in the multivitamin, but that leaves the 9,999 other good things that might be in the tomato or the strawberry. So that's the first thing I want you to know about fruits and vegetables. They contain the vitamins and minerals and the live enzymes too, if you don't cook and kill the fruits or vegetables. Oxidative stress is the other thing that's really, really important. So we all are undergoing oxidative stress. And this is what I want you to think about when you think about, okay, I have to really eat fruits and vegetables. So over here is how much oxidative stress you might have in your body. Over here is how much of antioxidants you need to combat what's called oxidative stress. Every day that we're just breathing and functioning, we have 10,000 hits on our good cells every single day as just a response to metabolism. And those are called free radicals, or in this quote, mutagenic oxidants. And they're flying around trying to attach to another electron, and they're not finding it if you don't have antioxidants in your body. So they keep hitting on your good cells. And over time, that's what causes aging, like the lady on the left, or disease. It mutates your cells over time. So you know, with an apple, when you cut the apple, you need to put lemon juice on it. That's an antioxidant in order for it to not turn brown. It's the same concept. We need fruits and vegetables in our body. One of our biochemists said, God didn't put us on the earth just to oxidize. He gave us antioxidants. We're supposed to eat them. The problem is the average American eats like 2 servings a day. And unfortunately, the statistics they collect include things like salsa or ketchup or French fries, things like that. But you want to eat these types of live foods. See how they look a little different? They're live. And then we want to eat color and variety. And what I've found with my family is you've got to chop them up and put them on the counter, not even knowing if anybody's going to come along and eat them, but they will if they're chopped up, especially if you have some kind of dip that they can dip, you know. Some people garden to make sure they're having vine ripen and raw fruits or vegetables. And this is just something our company offers. It's called the Tower Garden. And you can grow 20 different fruits, vegetables, herbs on here, anything that's not a tree or a root plant. And it grows faster. It's all water and nutrients. There's no dirt, which is awesome. And then just to look at it, you have to think to yourself, okay, what am I going to do with all that, you know? And so it makes you eat more fruits or vegetables or herbs. Here's just a couple of different pictures of how great it does grow. And these are how big they grow. And that's one of mine on the back of my house. But mainly I want you to realize that we just have to eat fruits and vegetables. So here is the American Cancer Society poster. When I heard about this 18 years ago, this was one of the first things I saw. And I was like, oh, that's why we're supposed to eat so many fruits and vegetables. And I also learned that the poster way back when was don't smoke, watch for fast growing moles, things like that. But this is what they've turned to say, no, you've got to eat a ton of fruits and vegetables every day and reduce your risk in that way. And 1 to 2 pounds of raw broccoli eaten weekly has 20 to 50 times more anti-cancer capabilities than the cancer drug tamoxifen. So, you know, every fruit or vegetable is very important with every different type of cancer and also diseases. So if you look up on the internet any disease, you'll see one of the first recommendations is to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. So here's me, my before and after picture. My before picture when I was unhealthy and had my first baby. When I read that book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and there's like the best odds diet, I did not know anything. I didn't know what brown rice was, brown eggs, flaxseed, any of that stuff. So then I started to learn this, and over time I made those simple changes. The bottom picture, I looked so much healthier, and I was 8 years older, and I had my last baby at age 40. And then the doctor was not thrilled that I was 40 and having a baby. I was considered advanced age. And he started handing me brochures about what possibly could happen because I was advanced age. I'm like, listen, I am so much better off, so much healthier. So you can kind of recreate your own health. And really, it only takes like a year to recreate your body and your health. So it's good to get started. And one of the changes I made way back when, and it's much simpler than gardening, and trying to just kill yourself eating so many fruits and vegetables, which I still want you to do. And our company still wants you to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. That's why they also came out with the Tower Garden. But this is a very simple way where you can have it as a daily habit. You know, daily habits are going to determine everything. It's going to determine whether you have optimal health later in life. So this is a way in which our family has decided we're going to invest in, and that's 30 fruits and vegetables and berries every single day, raw, vine ripened, live enzymes, got all your vitamins and minerals, no sugar in there. So it comes in capsule form, and then they use those same powders for chewable form for children or adults who can't use capsules. And the big deal about our product, number one, is it's a food. It's not in the category of vitamins. It does not say on the back supplement facts. It says nutrition facts, just like food would. Secondly, they test every batch to make sure there's no herbicides, pesticides, heavy metals, banned substances. Even the Olympics use our product, and Major League Baseball teams, things like that. So we're very thankful that, and I'm trying to include thankful stuff because it's Thanksgiving time. We're very thankful that we found Juice Plus, that our friend introduced it to us, and it's really kept us out of the doctor's office. Gives me a lot more vitality. And I've asked a couple people to come on and share. And I love this quote: you'll never change your life until you change something you do daily, which I hope I got that across. Okay, so I want to hear from Jean. Jean, I hope you know how to unmute yourself. Let me see. I want Jean to share her story. Okay, I'll unmute you. There you go.
Thank you. You ready?
Yep, ready. I'm going to see if I can spot
Okay.
you in the video. There we go. That's Jean. Go ahead.
Okay. Many years ago, my doctor told me that I was a clone of my father, and that he died at 77 when his heart exploded, and that was a result from diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. He had pain every day because he had a lot of arthritis. And she was right, because I had everything that my dad had, except that I got it earlier in life, which made it worse. My high weight was 232 pounds, and I now weigh 162. There's a lot of difference in my weight, but we started because my dad died at 77, and the doctor told me since I started earlier, I was probably my destiny was that I probably would die when I was 70 or the early 70s. And so as it got closer, Gary and I decided we needed to do something because his opinion was that things had changed so much that we could change our destiny. So we started looking. We had gotten on a diet that we found on the internet, and we had both lost 25 pounds, but that didn't change anything. All I did was weigh less, and I was still unhealthy. So Sharon's sister, Susan, happens to be one of my pianist students, and she's taken quite a few years, and we had become good friends, and I kept seeing changes in her. And she asked me one day, could I send you these 2 videos? And I said, sure, go ahead. And she said, here is a packet of the shake mix, and I'd like you to try that. So next time she came in weekly, and then we switched it to every other week. So she would come in, she'd say, did you watch the videos? I'd say, not yet, but I will. Did you try the shake? No. So this went on. And finally, I told Gary, I said, I am not going to go and sit down and have her ask me and me tell her that we haven't tried it, any of it. So we're going to try it. And so we did. We watched the videos and we tried the shake and we liked it. And so he told me, you can we can order the shakes, but that's it. We're not going to get involved in anything. And I said, okay, I'll let her know. And I told him, I promised her I would go to an event, so I really still need to go to that. He said, okay, we can go there, but you keep in mind, all we're doing is the shakes. I said, okay. So we went there, we listened to people's stories, and we listened to Cher, and she happened to be there talk. And everything was over. We saw the Tower Garden. We went inside, and Sharon walked over and said, well, what do you think, guys? And Gary says, well, I want to do everything. And I'm looking at him like, really? And he said, and Sharon says, well, what do you mean everything? He said, I want the bars, I want the shakes, I want the capsules, I want the Tower Garden, and I want to be a team member. And I'm thinking, what happened to him? And so we did. And that was really the day when our life changed, because we suddenly had hope. And I don't know why, but I was a person that we took it the day we got it. We took everything we had, tried it. And I was a person that I saw results in the first week and saw them every week after that. I had gotten so bad with my legs and the arthritis. I'd already had one knee that had been replaced. And so around the house, I got around by holding on to things or using a cane. When we would go out, I would go in the wheelchair. And if I sat on the couch, I couldn't get up. My grandkids just automatically would walk by, or my daughter or Gary, and they'd say, here, Grandma, and they give me a hand and help me up. And that's kind of where I was. I had pain 24/7. I had to play the piano when I gave lessons, but every note I played was painful. And so the first week, I did something I hadn't done for a long time. I slept all night. And then I realized that the reason I slept all night was because my knee didn't hurt anymore. And I didn't wake up every time I turned over or the cover got on me or something. And then the pain went away in my hands. The next thing I did, I was at my nephew's birthday party. I was sitting on the couch and they said it was time to eat. And I told Gary, let's go. And I popped up. And everything that has happened spontaneously. I didn't sit down and think, oh, well, maybe today I'll be able to stand by myself. It just happened. I turned around to him and I said, did you see that? And he says, yeah. I said, did you really see what happened? And we're in a room full of people who are watching us. They're all relatives, but still we're kind of making a spectacle because it's a little thing. But can you imagine being able to get up by yourself after for several years you've had to be helped? And so after that, I was walking out on the porch and I saw my shoe untied and I bent down and tied my shoe. I hadn't done that for 4 years. Poor Gary had to tie my shoes all the time. So what was happening is I was being freed from everything that had happened to me because of our bad habits. And I was being given back my life that, I was becoming a less needy person who had to have help to do things. And it was all because of the one simple change I made. And it hasn't stopped. I did something this weekend on Monday that I've never done. I flew by myself. I didn't have Gary to carry my luggage. And I wish I hadn't packed as much. But when we landed in, Puerto Guardia or something like that, down in Florida, because my daughter is having surgery tomorrow, and for her cancer, that she has cervical cancer. And so I came down And when I got in the plane, um, this lady beside me says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, no, I got it." And I lifted that bag and just flipped it right up in the thing. When we got off, I think the walk from that plane to where I met Tiffany had to have been 5 miles. That was the longest walk I ever took carrying 2 bags. I didn't even have the wheels to help me, but I did it.
Wow,
And we
wow,
went to a
wow,
soccer game last, and
and
and as
and
and as I
as I
was,
was,
I'm hearing an
I'm hearing
echo.
an echo.
oh, okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
I know you have an incredible story, Jean. So I think it'd probably go on all night, but I'm gonna let you just summarize it. And
well, the one thing when I got down here, with Sandy as sick as she's been, we got her on the Juice Plus, and she was not seeing anything. And when I got down here, my granddaughter told me that she had stopped taking them for a couple days, and when she did, her pain doubled.
uh-oh.
And that her husband was very doubtful of her even trying them, and they all saw what they did. They cut her pain in half. And as they were going, Tiffany looked at me. She says, "Grandma, you act and look like you did 10 years ago. You looked really bad a couple years ago, and now you're back to your old self." And she said, "I'm so happy that it did it." So, that's what happened to me this week. And I'm so thankful that the Juice Plus had been cutting her pain in half. And that's exciting because she couldn't see anything happening until she went off of it. The end.
Well, that is incredible, Jean. Let me see. Oh, now I've totally messed things up here for myself. I'm trying to figure out where am I on this thing with the people. I don't know who's showing right now. But anyway, okay, Michelle, I'm gonna unmute you and spotlight you. Thank you, Jean. I'm sorry, I'm just so distracted by trying to figure out my computer. But that was incredible. And I have to just say before I move on to Michelle, why I wanted Jean on here is because I have lived through these weeks where she's told me what has happened each week. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then she said, I dream of a time when I can go to New York City and them not have to push me around in a wheelchair. Well, we ended up in Indianapolis for the conference. And I'm like, Jean, we're walking blocks and blocks in Indianapolis and you're just fine. And so anyway, I felt like her dream had already come true and I was there to watch it. So it was pretty cool. Okay, so Michelle, you're going to be able to tell a quick story, I know, because Jean's was so long. She's got so many effects. Go ahead. And
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I love it. And I just wish, I know people have things they have to do, but I just love it because it also shows as you get older, you still have needs and you still can get that vitality back and feel young, because of the food that you're putting in your body. And this is just a concentrated way. Go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
Wow. Yes, that was incredible, Jean. Thank you for sharing that story. My story is, thanks to my son, 6.5 years ago, I took a look at Juice Plus, and he was a picky eater, did not eat vegetables, constantly sick, always walking around with a runny nose. And so he really was the reason I said, let me take a look at this. And once I did, and I saw the power of nutrition and how it could possibly affect not just him, but all of us, because we weren't getting close to what we should be eating every day. We all started on it and saw amazing results. And with my son, who was a 14-month-old baby when he started, within 2 months, he started eating broccoli and cabbage, which was pretty phenomenal. And he also hadn't been sick, which he was like my sick boy. He hadn't been sick the entire 2 months on it. So that was amazing. But my entire family began to notice changes. Like my husband's postnasal drip disappeared. For me, have always been into fitness, worked out most of my life, and I noticed that my recovery times were faster. I noticed that my stamina and my endurance were even better than before. And this was all due to this concentrated nutrition. So one thing that I got really passionate about, people are messaging me, I don't know if you guys can see that. One thing
No.
I got really passionate about was sharing Juice Plus. And the stories that I began to hear, kind of like what Jean was telling us tonight, were amazing. After my son, my dad was the second person I thought of when I learned of Juice Plus. My dad is now 87 years old. At the time, he was 81 when I first heard of Juice Plus, or he might have been 80. And he has diabetes where he's insulin dependent. He had prostate cancer at one point, and just a slew of health issues at that age. And so I was like, oh, my dad could use this because he doesn't eat fruits and vegetables anymore. And some of the things that Jean mentioned here was what he mentioned. I used to do a survey with people after 3 months to kind of figure out their progress and help them to see the changes that have occurred that they may not have recognized. And he noticed he was sleeping better because he used to have cramping in his legs at night. And I didn't know this because my dad is not a complainer. My dad will not ever say anything about anything, but because I asked him up front, he said, oh, I sleep better. It was one of the questions. And then he said, oh, I have less cramping in my legs. And his sugar levels had become a lot more regulated. And, for me, I was like so happy that my dad is getting that concentrated nutrition from the fruits that he wasn't able to eat unless his blood sugar levels were too low and he needed to raise them. So that was phenomenal. And then I had a really close friend who we went to high school together. He got married, had a couple of kids, and his youngest daughter was also diagnosed with cancer, with diabetes. She was 5 years old when she was diagnosed. And so I shared the information with him. He said, wow, this makes sense. He ordered it for the entire family. And this little girl, which I didn't realize, like with my dad having diabetes, you're able to kind of control and maintain an adult with diabetes, but I didn't realize how much harder it is when a child has diabetes, because they say, children burn energy so quickly and they want to play with their friends. And 1 minute they can be totally normal blood sugar levels, and the next minute they just plummet because they've been running around with the other kids and their sugar levels drop. And I was like, wow, I never really thought of that. So that was some of the things I learned through her. But they noticed after 2 weeks of being on Juice Plus, she would give herself her own insulin. Isn't that incredible? But they noticed they had to lower her insulin at night because now it seemed like her body was beginning to produce its own insulin, and she was becoming to be too low when she woke up in the morning. And they were like, wow, that was the only thing they made different and the only thing they changed. And so, stories like that are incredible to me. And then I have a very close friend of mine, her husband was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma 3 years ago. And they had been on Juice Plus for as long as I have, so 6.5 years. And the doctors that he went to said if it wasn't for him having this healthy lifestyle, they had made an amazing change in their health when they first heard about Juice Plus. They started to exercise more. They started to eat more plants alongside drinking the shakes and taking the capsules and everything else. And they had an amazing tower garden. So they had implemented this all in advance. And then he got diagnosed with this cancer. But I feel, and even they feel, that they said the fact that he was so healthy before was what helped it not to be as serious as it could have been. And now he has been cancer free for like over a year. So it's just amazing the power of this nutrition, and you never know when you're going to need it or what your body's doing. Sometimes we kind of forget. Like today I've had the most craziest day ever, and I'm sure if I wasn't on Juice Plus, I'd be like a log on the floor right now. I'd just be knocked out because it has been a trying day. But here I am on this call, and I feel energized and I feel great. And I know that's just the power of flooding my body with this nutrition every day. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Sharon. Thank you for allowing me to share.
All right. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. That was great. And so, we do surveys with people after they start Juice Plus, and here are some of the common things that we find. your body starts to crave more fruits and vegetables because you're taking it in. Even children with autism, I have a whole community of children with autism taking Juice Plus, and they start to eat more fruits and vegetables, and so do adults and everybody else. Increased water, less fast food, soda, less cold and flu. Like, we do not have to go to the doctors typically. I want to knock wood or something, but unless it's stitches or broken bones, things like that. So they stay out of the healthcare provider's office. Improved sleep, like Jean said, energy for sure, improved workouts and recovery, healthier gums, less bleeding, improved complexion, which actually we have a study on as well, improved body weight, bowel movements. People are very excited about that, having more control over their bowel movements, and overall sense of well-being. And so those are kind of reported things, but there is peer-reviewed medical research behind Juice Plus at all these different medical centers, including MD Anderson Cancer Center, which is the #2 cancer center in America, and like University of Florida, University of Mississippi, Nemours Children's Clinic, to name a few. And it's been used on stage 4 ovarian cancer patients and also on pregnant women. So you know that it's been proven to be effective as well as safe if they're going to use it on that type of population. And here are just some of the other things that it helps. It helps support an immune system. Within 80 days, your T cells are up, your natural killer cells are up. It reduces inflammation in the body, which is very important to prevent all disease. It protects your DNA because you have less oxidative stress within 28 days. Your cells are not getting those hits on them. And then that protects the DNA, and how you measure that is strand breakage. And so they found 66% to 40% less strand breakage depending on the population. So those are just some of the things. Improved lung health, like better pulmonary function. I could go on. There's 36 peer-reviewed medical journals showing Juice Plus works. One of the cardiovascular studies I want to share with you was in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, and what they found was when you ate 2 hash browns, 2 McMuffins, University of Maryland did this study, you are constricting your blood vessels 40 to 60%, 4 to 6 hours. That's a window of opportunity for a heart problem, especially if you already have things going on in your blood vessels. And what they found with Juice Plus Orchard and Garden Blend, just the fruits and vegetables, there was 62% less constriction when they included the berries and the grape skins, which is good for heart and circulation as well as brain function. The berry blend actually made it so that more matters, the fruits, the vegetables, and the berries, and they found no more constriction of the blood vessels after that high-fat meal. And we eat high-fat meals all the time, so it's good to know that we're protected. And it just shows the power of even more fruits and vegetables. And that's what we get with all 30. So we've got fruit, veggie, berries, capsules. They just released the omegas. They did a survey of our customers. The company's been around for over 40 years. Our Juice Plus has been around for over 25 years. And they said, well, let's look to see if we want to add something else. And they looked at the customers and they said, what do you guys take that you would like? Okay, somebody's writing on the screen again. Anyway, so they found that people want omegas and they wanted a vegan version. So this is a vegan version. The fish are healthy because they eat the algae in the ocean or the water. And so they went straight to the algae. So it is algae oil. It is also berry oils, and it is a wide array of omegas. And even my pediatrician, who's very, very picky and is studying a fellowship in integrative medicine, said, okay. When she looked at the label, I'm like, yes. Anyway, so that was before it was even rolled out. And so I was so happy about that. And so we have plenty of fat in our diet in America. We need the good fat, and we need it for our brains especially. So that is one reason why I'm excited that we have the Omega blend now. It's good for the heart, brain, joints, eye, and we're going to have more and more research behind that, like we do all of our other products. The other thing that I love that our company has is something to provide a good meal every day. and that is our Juice Plus Complete. I make that every day. This is how my kids grew up. This is my two boys. They're now 18 and 17. They have grown up on Juice Plus, and so I just put some kind of plant milk, some Juice Plus Complete, which has ingredients that the healthier countries eat, and it provides a lot of good fiber. So plant protein and fiber. You want to increase your plants, no matter what you're eating all day long, whether you do Juice Plus or not. Increase your plants, decrease your animal. Animal is inflammatory, so is sugar, so is processed foods. So this is a way to have at least one really good meal every day. Dr. Pam Popper of Forks Over Knives says this is hands down one of the best meals you can have in a day. So my kids have grown up with the Juice Plus Complete Shake in the house, and anybody can make it anytime. So I'm very thankful for that. It's a low glycemic index, so you don't need as much willpower to power through the day. It just keeps your blood sugar stable, and it's helped a lot of people. If they eat also 2 a day, they have some very good transformations. And like I said, we need plants all day long for that fiber, so it's a good source. And for me, I'm a vegetarian, so it's one of my sources for protein every day. I do it twice a day a lot of times. It's got prebiotics, and we want to build that intestinal bacteria. That is like the second brain for our cravings and for, everything. So we need really good food. This is really good food, gluten and dairy free. It can be a breakfast, a pre or post workout drink, afternoon or late night snack. I've been making like a little pudding bowl. You can ask me about that later. I just add some things to the shake, and it's awesome. So with that, you're getting over 45 plants if you have Juice Plus Trio and the complete shake every day. And then if you have a second shake, you have even more. And then if you have omegas, you have even more. And I already sort of talked about that. Our shred is a really healthy program. We have a nurse who talks about disease, and a lot of people ask her a question. She says, you know what? If you look up that disease and you look up fruits and vegetables, number one, it's going to be your number one recommendation. But all the things in the shred are going to be the other recommendations, as far as what to eat. We want to add more real food. We want to add the Trio blend of capsules, 2 complete shakes, lots of water, sleep, exercise. And then we've got to eliminate those things that kind of hold us back from detoxifying. They're harder proteins to process, gluten and dairy. Caffeine is something that we go without for 10 days, and alcohol. And I call it semi-shredding. If you don't want to give up one of those things or 2 of those things, that's okay. Processed foods, as much as you can move away from that. This is like a nice little 10 days that we do every month. And we try to just get as close to it as possible. Artificial and refined sugars, the less, the better. And eating after 6. We try to stop eating after 6, or I say 7, so that your body can now have a break and fast until the morning. And that has been really beneficial for a lot of people. I like to point out that if you have the shake for breakfast and you make these salad jars in advance as a prep, that's like 2 meals that you already have that are really healthy. Then you have healthy snacks. You might have a second shake right before dinner, and that helps to control dinner as well. So we have a lot of good advice in our Facebook groups on that. We have a shred group every month that if anybody ever wants to do that, we can add you. But basically, good nutrition equals good results. People ask us about different diseases and disorders. Well, hopefully I've got across to you that as close as you can be to the plant food kingdom, that's what we need to eat more and more of, and decrease the animal as much as you can, whether it's milks, dairy, cheese, yogurt, food that came from an animal in any way. Decrease that, decrease your sugars, your processed foods, increase your plants as much as possible. You're going to find so much more vitality. Juice Plus costs as much as a cup of gourmet coffee, like together. Starbucks will hit you with like $5. This is $2.50 plus $2 a shake, and that's redirected funding for a meal, that shake. And so we have never had that on the chopping block as far as our budget. And we are part of a healthy living revolution. We are changing lives. We see it every day. People are just transforming to better health. We have cookbooks. We have children's programs, all kinds of things. We have Facebook groups and events. And so just connect with the person who invited you today. Make sure you get in our Facebook group, if anything, so you can just kind of soak up everything and be in our community. So whether you want to just join our Facebook group, start getting on WHYS Plus, or share this message, we invite you to do that. Be part of our healthy living revolution in some way, shape, or form. And we want you to, upon awakening, be thankful, thankful that you're healthy and you have vitality. And so I wish the best for you guys. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry it took so long tonight for me to get my point across. I was trying to include everything in every way. So let me go ahead and stop the recording.